Welcome back everybody, part 2 of this Naim power supply build. Here's the Naim power supply as fitted the high cap. This is HC1/-2 and I have decided to use the Avondale full wave bridge rectifiers in this application. Available from his website now. I think they're about £20 a piece, something like that. The more you buy, the cheaper they are. So I'm going to put those back on the shelf for now, and I've gone ahead and done some measuring, some marking, and I've drilled some holes in the chassis. As you saw earlier, it's just a bare chassis at the moment, still with its protective cover on, and I've marked out, measure and mark with a set of calipers and a ruler. Old-fashioned way of doing it. You can see the lines. Drilled some holes, some pilot holes. I didn't do it on my, I've got a press drill out in the garage, but it's freezing, absolutely freezing at the moment. Has been pouring down with rain, so I've done this on the bench here with my hand drill, my trusted hand drill. I've made up a saddle that will strap these capacitors to the chassis like that. And again, I've shown how to make one of these saddles. They're very difficult to come by, these saddles, and I think they're too expensive for what they are. And there's a mounting hole for the transformer here, which is, as you can see, they've all been countersunk, so that all the screws, when we fix everything down, it's all flush, so that it can slide in and out the chassis. Thing of note is, this is a transformer is a potted with a M8 insert on the bottom, and what you have to do is relieve this insert so that this M8 will screw through it straight in, because this countersunk portion here protrudes past, that's flush, protrudes past this level here, and you may or may not just be able to see it just needs relieving so that this can actually get hold and nip on to here. Once it's screwed down, it will not move, but you just got to relieve it slightly here so that this will screw right the way in. So I will start doing some screwing. At this point I'll take off this protective sleeving. I'm not going to paint it. I was going to paint it, but it's just too cold. Some satin black, but it'll be very nicely finished. This is a substantial chassis actually. I mean, this is 3mm thick, just over actually. Well, this would be the over, but it's 3mm aluminium, which is engineered over the top by a mile, but that's what I had on the shelf. I think I inherited this from somewhere, can't remember where, but it's going to be nicely finished. It's brushed, looks quite nice, and it'll look fantastic, won't it? So we'll just get rid of that. I'm not sure whether I'm going to put a on-off knob on the front at the moment. I have various knobs, Naim type knobs, but I'm not convinced that it might just be a plain black. I might just pilot a hole for an LED, but we shall see. So I'm going to carry on and do some fixing, some screwing, and see you shortly. So I've just loosely put this strap on to hold these two capacitors in, and I've lined them up so you've got positive on the outside, positive on the outside, and the minus. You strap these two together for your 0 volts off of these rectifiers. Now I've fitted one rectifier, and it's just a simple matter after you, I mean, it's a straight replacement on an existing high cap, and these are a substantial uplift compared to the old type, to these mentioned before, KBPs. They're used predominantly everywhere. I think Naim used them in half wave format. These are full wave, but it's just a matter of, there's a standoff, and you line your standoff off with your hole. They come with fixing screws, which are old-fashioned Phillips types or Posi. In fact, I think it's a Phillips. And there they are. Simple as that. Installed. Same with the regulator. We've got a couple of screws. Loosely align. That's it. So it's all nice and flush. This IEC, I don't like the fixings on these particularly. It's just a clip on my head that you have to just push in to pull them out. I don't particularly like these, but they seem to be okay, but I tend to glue them as well, and I will do. I mean, they snap in like that, but I will probably glue them as well. So, oh, I haven't tightened this strap up. This here. Let me get a pair of long nose. You just wind this down, and that will pinch, just gently pinch up against the capacitor body and hold it in place. There you go. Line them up. Lovely. Oh, I think this thread might need cleaning. Let me have a look if it indeed is the right thread. I'm not sure, to be honest. No, it does. That is the right thread. So this is what I'm doing, is just a dry assemble really. Let me take this out. I'm not sure if I mentioned this transformer as a bespoke device from Toroids. Absolutely superb product. They run completely silent, and they can facilitate any application that you wish. So there you go. Oh. So we've got a blue and a brown that can come around there, or can go that way to a switch if I wanted. That's the it's configured in 0-120, 0-120, so that when I come around to selling it, it can be used anywhere in the world really. 50-60 hertz, and there's just a bit of judicious wiring to be done. I probably might well put a switch up there because it sort of lends itself, doesn't it? And tidy this up a bit. I'm not going to take the sleeve off out yet. I need winding up a bit more, that does. That's better. That's going nowhere. So there's the basic layout of this little project so far. So I've done a bit of screwing and fixing. You just you see all these fixings are all flush, nicely done now. Do a bit of wiring. So as previously mentioned, there are 6 secondaries on here, 0-24. So each one of these pairs, and the black, the yellow, they're all different colours: red, pink, orange, black, white. I was going to make I did make it actually, a multi PSU which had 6 regulators. We're only going to be using 2 regulators, as in the name, this unit here. And all I'm going to do is use 2 of these secondaries to tap off here, these secondary tappings, 2 on this rectifier, 2 on that rectifier, and then we will take the positive off of each one of these rectifiers to either side of this capacitor, remembering that we've got positive, negative, negative, positive, and those 2 are strapped together, which will be the earth. All will become apparent when we get going, but for now I'm just putting some spades on, these fast-ons, or spades you can call them. Nice double solder, make a nice connection, just like that. Don't breathe in the fumes. And there's one pair. There's another pair. So we want to go AC. AC is marked on here. AC, AC. So doesn't matter which way round. A lot of people say yes it does. I've never found it. So that goes on there, that goes on there. Just like that. What colour shall I use next? Those red ones look about the right length, don't they? So same again. This is a brand new transformer. I did test it, make sure we had the appropriate 24 volts, like that. I've got a Wizzo crimping machine that does all this in one go, but it's buried at the bottom of the garage at the moment. But for those that are wondering, these spade connectors are 1.5mm, so it's 1.5mm cross-sectional area of this conductor. These wires in here fits nicely within the crimped area like that. The fact that I solder it is a bonus, really. I could go on and use the anvil and really crimp it up gas tight, but rather than do that, I'm going to put some solder on here. Makes me feel happier that we have a nice, just feed it in like that, a nice gas tight connection. Thus, we can pull the sleeve down. Got a boot that goes on that spade like that. Not necessarily required. Naim would solder directly to the tab, and many others actually would solder directly to the tab. We're not going to. Not particularly. I mean, all these zip ties are just to hold this, give it some cable management, so that I can tease it into to make it look nice, really. That might go in there a bit more like that. Yeah, that's better. As I said, we've got to come off here. Positive. It's in the wrong place. Sorry. That one there. What am I doing wrong here? Always best to check your work. Check your work. So that one there goes on the AC. We're going AC, like that. Like that. Smashing. So I've drilled out some holes here for these thin chassis sockets. Bit of a pain to do that type of thing, but I've also drilled a pilot hole in the front for a switch. I've got my knob. I'm waiting for a Lauren switch to come, 2-pole Naim type high cap switch. So we're going to have two holes here, one for the LED that shines through here when it's on. It's a 45-degree switch, so it goes bum 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 bum, click click click. So I've dry assembled. Earlier you saw me. I dry assembled it. I'm just peeling off the backing now, protective backing. Which is quite satisfying, this. I don't know why. Why is it satisfying to peel this off? I suppose it's like peeling a scab, isn't it? Some people enjoy doing things like that. Look at that. The last thing I've got to do, light engineering, is to drill. I've already centre marked, popped the holes for the feet fixings that go through the chassis, so I've just got to double check that they're all aligned. Look at that, lovely. So the way we align the holes, slide it in the case, square it up, leaving a few millimeters front and rear. In actual fact, there's more of a gap at the front here because there's going to be a fascia. I've got a black fascia that will go on there. Texture is the same texture as this. So just line it up, hold it steady, centre pop, centre pop. There you go. So all I've got to do now, I'm going to drill a pilot hole in each one of those. Let's say 3mm, something like that. I would normally take this downstairs, as mentioned earlier, into the workshop. I'm going to run out of battery any second now, so I'll just quickly do this. I'd normally take this down to the workshop and do it on my, I've got a press, you know, proper machine shop press drill. But it's too cold. We're still going. This battery is going to die in a second. The battery in the camera and the battery in the drill was just luckily I think I have another. I've got a big monster one here, so there we go. We're still going. So there's the pilot holes. A bit of a clean up here now. Always clean up as you go. Clean up as you go. And I have an abundance of feet. Some fixing screws. They might be a bit too big, but I can either use I can drill and tap and use these in here, or I can use these big self tappers. Let's get 4 new ones. Some of the early Naim equipment used to use these big 22mm feet, and then they went to these smaller. I think these are 18mm as they call them. Let's get some. So I've got some self-tapping screws, and you just force them. You force the screw. They're posi. These are positive posies. Got the extra little indents, and you just force that in there. You can use a little bit of lubricant if you like, but put them back out of the way. Get rid of those. I don't know, let's have a look. Let's have a look, see. That is looking good. these, you force these in. I'm just going to put some weight on here. They could do with being a bit longer actually, but for the time being, for the purposes of this experiment, this project, there you go. That's a dry run, that works. So let's move those, they're too big I believe. Let's move some of this out of the way now. From this, I've got a stock of knobs. This one's, there's a little mark on it, but it'll be fine. I've got others here I could use, but that's going to be fine. Knobs, feet, knobs, all Naim stuff. So we're very near to assembly now. I'm just going to do a bit of deburring. Where I'll punch the holes through for the feet. I just use a rather large drill. You can buy a proper tool, but I just do that and just whip the swarf off like that. Let's zoom in a bit there. There you go. And I'll just deburr that. Not that it's that's going to be this is going to be this will be drilled out to 10mm to take the boss for the switch. The Lorenz switch that goes on there, 2-pole. So just a 2-pole, 250 volt switch. I did have a stock of them, but over the years it was a failing point for the high cap. That's the doorbell. I'll be back shortly. So, excuse me. I've just made up a brass buzz bar, I think they call them, which will go across the negative terminals of this capacitor bank, M5, and that will give me a nice start earth point for all the earth returns, or zeros if you like, 0 voltage. That'll all come back to here. It's commonly used in the audio industry. I've got some lock washers that'll hold it in situ nice and firmly. If you want, you could put some contact adhesive. I'm not going to bother, but there you can see you got a nice fixing, and I can then just use a M5 bolt to fix all my zeros to. Little Allen, little stainless steel Allen. And what I've done, I've secured these, so I put a bolt, stainless steel bolt, right through this buzz bar, and I've got some of these round terminals, and position them sort of 100 and, well, about 90 degrees, just less than 90 degrees, so that I can easily now solder whatever wires I need to these piggybacked terminals, like that. That'll go on like that, roughly, something like that. So we're making progress. Be back soon. So I've just fixed the transformer back in from a dry fit. I'm just fitting these superb full wave bridge rectifiers in. Do some judicial wiring. Tackle this lot. These are the secondaries I don't need, but they'll be. I suppose I could pull them off at a different angle, but for now, this all needs tidying. Get rid of some of these. In doing this, what they call lacing up with zip ties, you'll find, rather than try to skimp on the use of them, you end up using them as a template. So they're cheap and they're ideal for sorting out which way the cables need to go, what route, make them look tidy, professional, all this type of thing. These two green ones need to go under because they're gonna take a right turn back here somewhere, and it's a bit of a rat's nest in this particular instance, but we will get it sorted very, very soon, as you will see. You just got to be patient with this to make it look nice, and unfortunately many people are not patient with it. They make a right dog's ear of it, but all of a sudden you will see this all come together neat and tidy. Pull it out, stretch it out like that, as you can see. Stretch it out. Let me zoom back just a bit. There we go. And get this all tidied up. These are the ones we don't want. So what I'm going to do is take the sacrificial zip tie and pull them together. We don't want these in this instance, like that, but we do need these two greens, these two reds, because they're going to go back to the capacitor banks. So all this lot has got to be tidied. So I'm going to put one through here, and I'm going to tidy up all of these here before I do a right turn glide. To these I'll do a right turn and end up something like that. So it's a bit fiddly, takes a bit of time, but when you get it right, it all looks so much more professional in the end. So grab a few of these zip ties, do a bit of working, tidy it all up. I know a lot of people like to see all this going on. Get them all in a line, get them all uniform like that. That's it. And this, what I'm doing now, this lacing up bit gives the whole structure strength. If you imagine one cable going from this point to that point, it will just flop about, but when you've got multiple strands like this put together, it gives it some structure, some strength, like that. And miraculously, all of a sudden, it starts to look nice and tidy, like that. Just going to put one more here. So at this point, what I'm going to say is this is now a full wave rectified power supply. Naim, historically with their high cap, and it used half wave, they only use half the rectification available, which many people will know about. They said it sounded better. Open for debate that, but this is going to be a full wave rectified power supply, just like that. Now when I put the regulators on like that, we're going to need an earth return off of here, off these dim plugs, off of here, which will come across and down and along, which I'll do. So I've got my 5-pin DIN chassis socket here from Prue, manufactured by Prue, and this pin here and this pin here, that's the 24 volts, and this central pin here is the earth, which I will explain in a second, but I'll just show you how I do it. I've got some strippers, just like that. I'll just turn the iron on. I have some shielding. Let's get some shielding. That one's okay. So I'm just going to shield, in effect, the two live feeds. So we just push on with a little bit of rubber sleeving, or you could use heatsink. Just like that. Just going to do a bit of soldering, tinning as they call it. We're going to tin the ends. As you can see, this is not a brand new Prue socket, and this can be a bit fiddly, but you'll get the idea. We're just going to tin the end of this as well. Get it at the right angle. Like that, and feed this down like that. No chance of shorting now. So we'll do the second one again. Feed on some insulation or sleeving. YTH strippers, very good indeed. I've had them for 30 years. Very good. Do a bit of tinning again. I can't see that. Nice lot of solder on there. That one looks to be a little bit long. We'll just trim it back. There we go. Number 2. And finally we have an earth, 0 volts. Lovely. The reason why I'm doing it on the bench here in this vise, it's much more difficult to do it in the back of the unit when it's in situ. Trying to get the soldering iron in at an angle, and you can burn things, burn your fingers. It's just a pain, so it's much nicer, easier to do it like this. No good. If you move on a soldered joint, there is a chance of that joint becoming what they call dry. I can just see there's a little bit of crud in there. That's better. So I don't know if you can see that in there. There we go. 6 minutes of rubbish on the video. So now let's move this vise. Bear with me. Move me pointer. I'm going to zoom you out and relocate this camera. So hold on your hats. There we go. Like that. Okay. So I've done a bit of work here. I've put a bit of me textured vinyl on here. This is my earth strap. It fixed to the back of the chassis here with a star washer, and I'll have a couple of earths that go back to that. One off the transformer and one from the mains will go to there, so the whole thing is safe. So we're going to feed this through the hole, and as I was stating, it's much easier to do it this way than if I was trying to connect these wires, as you can see, to attach these wires with a soldering iron through the back of here in this particular instance, because the configuration of this layout is not exactly as per a high cap, mainly because this hole, which was already cut in the chassis, is in the wrong place. If it was over this side and I've got a main switch here, I can actually put the main switch here and run the AC across here, but in theory you're supposed to segregate the DC from the AC. So what I've got to do, I'm going to run the AC down, under and along here, but that means passing under the regulators. So we'll probably go from here, back down here, across here, down under these rectifiers. It's just a little bit messy. It's okay, it'd be fine, but it's not exactly the layout of a Naim high cap. No issue for me. So I've got these are titanium. These little tiny screws, these are titanium screws. I did a job for, some people might, Raycool Thermionics, many years ago, and they used to make data reel-to-reel tape recorders, and everything in this is a beautiful bit of kit, big 12-inch reels of tape. And all the screws and fasteners are all of the highest quality titanium and or whatever. And then they closed down and the stores were getting emptied, and I luckily I benefited from a clear out of the stores with some. So these are extremely old, but they're superb quality. Anyway, I digress. I'm going to carry on and do a bit of judicious wiring. This is just fixing this DIN socket on there, so it'll end up looking like that. Looks fine. This is for my own use, so this 4-pin I'm not actually going to connect, but this one is going to be. So I've gone ahead and completed a bit of wiring, as you can see, connected up the regulators. Now I just want to do some excuse me, some continuity checks, make sure all the wires go to all the right places and all the right colours. So this here is an output. This is an output which is connected to the other side of that diode, and it should go to one of these pins on the back panel of this PRU. I don't know which pin it is, but we'll just, there we go. So that is connected. Let's do this side. Yeah. So that's all good. And we're going to do some earthing now. So the earth pin, yeah, that's fine. These, just check these here. These go back to the star point. So now, when we've checked the outputs, they go back to the PRU socket on the back panel. Just like that. So now I'm just double checking in my head all this is out the way. The only thing left to do now is the switch, LED, and wiring up the transformer to the mains, and a bit of earthing. But whilst we're here, I just want to check that everything is hunky-dory. So we're on DC volts. Get my other meter. There's two outputs, obviously. So that's common earth, like that. Output 1, output 2. Okay. I don't know whether you can see all that. No, you can't, can you? I'll just move this camera. Bear with me. I hope you can see that. Yeah. So I've connected up the transformer to the mains via a crocodile safety block, as they call them. I've got 0 volts on there, and as I wind on some AC, we'll see these start jumping up. There we go, 12 volts AC, and we just gently wind up till we get 240. In actual fact, the mains here today is 243. So we're going up 243. There we go. and we've got 24.4, 25. So that's working absolutely perfectly. Let's just see what we have got on the mains. On the so we have 35 volts. There you go, 35 volts supplied to this regulator, and we got nearly down to 25. So we've got 10 volts headroom, which is absolutely perfect for this application. Bearing in mind, it's only plugged into a preamp, it's only going to be pulling a few milliamps, a few tens of milliamps. I think it was about the last time I checked a Naim preamp 321 stage, it was about 28 milliamps. This is so over the top, it's unreal. But I'll just kill everything off now. So all the wiring per se is completed, apart from, as I say, the switch, the earth, diode, front panel, out there, quite tidy, quite nice. You can see that I've glued, can you see that? You can see I've glued this IEC in as well. Thus, so whilst I'm waiting for the switch actually to come in. Should be in a day or two, but so I'll be back soon, and we'll run past the last, get past the line, get it all finished. So whilst waiting for this switch, I thought I'd give this case a good clean. There were some marks on it. Been on the shelf for years and years. But just use some smelly old pure acetone. Really gets in and gets the dirt out. Any marks. People use WD-40s and all sorts of furniture polish and to try and clean these cases up after many years. To try and restore them to new. I don't know if you can see the actual dirt and grime gets right into the surface, and the only real way is to use some chemical, really, to get it out. Look at that, look. Now that's not black ink or paint, that's dirt. And that's the best I'm going to do with it. You can spend hours doing cleaning jobs, but that's nice, isn't it? So let's just do a little recce, see if this will all slide in. Hopefully it will. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. As I said, I want to put a switch on here. There's a fascia I've got to put on as well with an LED. So a couple more jobs and that'll be done. So the switch come, 2-pole, simple as that. So they're switched across top to bottom, not side to side. Nut and washer, and I've drilled some holes in the front to allow for the fixing of the LED, the switch and its locator. So I'm just going to, for now, as a temporary measure, I'm just going to put some vinyl across there because I want to get this video finished. So I'll be back when I've done that. See you soon. So there we go, a DIY high cap. The regulator, the Naim regulator, I will at some point swap out for something far superior, but I think it will be far superior with the use of the Avondale full wave rectifiers. Get a bit of light on the front. Yeah, there it is. Not really good, is it? There you go. There you go. So it wouldn't look too bad on a shelf, would it? So thanks for watching, and I'm sorry it takes me so long. It takes hours and hours and hours to do these.